So I have a sort of like a get it while you can when it's available for computer stuff, so that I can keep a copy of it on a ROM. And so I decided this is probably a good idea to try to find everything I could get for this ODROID and pack it up into a backup. So what I usually do is I have the original installed image and then I save the packages that get installed. And the trouble is, in this last version of the Ubuntu I put on, it uses apt, and maybe you can configure it, but it doesn't seem to keep the files cached. So what I wound up doing in the end was just trying to image the entire disk. So let's say you have your 16 gigabyte flash SD card, and we'll just say, you know, this is the beginning part, and this is the end part over here. And what would happen is that when you get the image from the web, there's some utilities that was set up for you. So, but I didn't really trust them. So, what I did is I just copied the image to this part of the hard disk, or sorry, the SD card. And then there's like a boot partition here. I don't really know why, but there's like a boot partition. And then there's the main file system partition. And what happened was I decided that I wanted to use more of this SD card. So what I did is I made this partition. It actually starts say here. I made that partition this entire size here. But then what I did is I said to Linux that it ends. I gave it the command to resize. That's resize to fs command. And what I did is I manually specified the length a little bit shorter than this, because I've had problems when I didn't specify the length and it somehow did something. Then it was trying to go past here for some reason. So I think it has. I think the problem is I haven't read a lot about it, but it's got like it needs a certain blocking size or something. So I just chose a little bit, a certain number of megabytes, which is a little under the end. And I used that resize command, and then I didn't have any kind of problem. What that allows you to do is it's going to allow you to use all the room and your SD card for your root partition. So file systems today are going to be pretty complex, but just think of it in a early kind of computing kind of way. This would be like your beginning of your drive, the end of your drive. There'd be a certain number of blocks. The blocks would be currently in use. There'd probably be something, maybe this is the thing around here, saying which blocks are currently being used. And what happens is if you have like a file, right, and that file gets deleted, and it's no longer being used, but the data is still there, unless you happen to have an operating system that is wiping the disk as it goes. I'm not sure if that exists. Probably it does exist. But what happens is, especially when we fast format a disk, all the stuff is just there. And from the point of view of the user, this stuff doesn't exist because it's not within the allocated tree of your file system, right? So it's just this invisible, but it does physically exist. So if you start accessing this drive like it's just raw information and sending it to a stream, all the stuff's going to come with it. And when this stuff goes through the compressor, it's going to slow down the compressor. So what you'd really want to do is make the stuff closer to a bunch of zeros, zero filling, as possible. And what that's going to do is when you get this stream out, it's going to make it compress to a smaller amount, right? I mean, what you can do, what I've done before, is I have backups of my Windows where I just have a one-to-one backup using Linux, and I've gone through reading this as a device from logical position 0 to the end and creating exactly the same size image on a disk. Well, in this case, I want to make a DVD-ROM out of a 16 gig disk, and I got it to 2.2 gigs, which isn't bad. Yeah, I should also say that it's possible that an archiving program has a way of reconstructing this image by omitting the areas that are not located. And I'm not sure if they do that or not, but it's certainly theoretically possible to do that. And that would be the best compression kind of ratio you'd get by just disregarding this stuff. Because even when it's zeros, it's going to have certain check bits and accounting bits and things as you go along. Also, it's possible for applications to, start accessing raw information of a device, especially if it's offline. And scan it for things that are no longer in the table, or just basically go through everything and try to make intelligible sense out of like what is an image, etc. Like the foremost program in Linux. So I've done this before where I just find a drive, and if you don't low-level format it, even if you have quick formatted it, you can just basically run into this program and it will dump out the majority of the images, not in a kind of a friendly way. But yeah, you can do that. It's definitely possible. That's why you want to definitely low-level format any drive that you're discarding. So as mentioned before, I got these like fake flash things for free. Somebody's giving away. They say they're 128 gigs. They're really like 64, and they wrap around. They destroy themselves. But I think that in general, they're not reliable. But this part here, it's like it has like a card inside, like a 64 gig card, and this seems to be maybe a reliable reader writer. So the silver lining is that maybe this is an okay reader writer, but the actual card is bad. But I use this to program it and to read the backup, and so I'm hoping that that's going to do it. So at the last minute, I figured out that if I just made a empty file as big as possible on the partition, when I compressed it, it would be a smaller compressed archive. And originally, honestly, I tried to do that while running it, and it's somehow malfunctions. So I tried it again. I restored an earlier backup, and I tried it again. This shows the procedure of reading from the card reader and then compressing the image. So originally with the ODROID, I had troubles with all kinds of things turning off. And what I eventually found out, or attempted, was this is like a charger cable. And I think what happens is the wires are a little bit thicker. And because of that, it can carry the 2 amps that come out of this charger into the OTG port. On the schematic, it's hooked directly into the same connector as the little adapter thing there. So generally it's working pretty well, but it is a little bit starved for power. And I noticed that when you put the screen in with 720p, it's not going to take as much power. That's my theory anyway. It's not going to take that much power. So my decided is going to test out the using this thing kind of like a computer, and would you believe it? It isn't really usable as a computer. I got on this kind of mission creep because I just wanted to experiment with the Raspberry Pi. And it was only $20, and it came with a 16 gig SD card. So how can you lose? And you really can. It is an interesting, fun thing. But I mean, here's the that GPO header. It is really designed to be kind of like a intelligent Arduino where you could like program it. Here's I put in this very small network dongle. I've got like a massive network dongle. It's a wireless G, and this small one, I don't know if it really works properly. Like sometimes I think, well, it's definitely not working, and then sometimes it seems to be working pretty well. So what I can say about it is it's nice to have a really small dongle, not like a huge dongle. But anyway, here's this YouTube, but it took absolutely forever. And again, I don't know if that's because the that dongle is really horrible. Okay, so let's see. Another thing is it has HDMI out, which would usually have your sound, but I need a monitor that has like speakers, and I don't really have one. In fact, this is a VGA style monitor, and it's working very well with the video signal. It seems like a lot of the monitors have issues with the video signal coming out. Maybe that can be tweaked, but there seems to be some issue with the video signal that comes out of this thing. I guess is it's got like the Office sort of stuff, right? So okay, so what's happened here is I'm trying to make it okay, yeah, I'm trying to use it mostly as a GPIO sort of robot thing, and because of that, I want to limit the amount that the screen is using resources. So by default, it's not starting up Windows. You can change it by changing the run level to 5, and then it'll start the graphical system. So I like to enable SSH, so I have a backdoor into all these systems. You can use the same sort of thing for OpenWRT because it doesn't even have a graphical system. And in this case, there's absolutely nothing connected to the ODROID except for that network dongle. In this case, I'm controlling it from my main computer. I'm going through its log, the startup log here. Anyway, thanks for watching. I know this was a monotonous one. Also, here and there, I cut out some waiting so it wouldn't, drag down everyone watching it.